Hello, my name is Brent Ritter. Today I'd like to give you a brief synopsis of a small section of my favorite city in the world, Washington, D.C. When we're done today, my goal is to give you the insights to make you sound like a local. Washington, D.C. became the beef when the Continental Congress decided to have a federal city not influenced by the North and the South. So they chose the areas of Maryland and Virginia. Virginia on this side, Maryland on this side of the Potomac River. Virginia was given back their area of the land, and everything was just used on the Maryland side. This is an overview of what Washington looked like in 1810. You can see the Capitol building in the center, when everything fans out from there like a hub and spoke system. It was designed that way for defense purposes by Pierre L'Enfant, by George Washington. You can see the Washington Monument right there. Of course, in 1810, this had not been built yet, but this was an artist's rendition of what it was going to look like. You also see that there's no area over here for where the Lincoln Memorial will be, as the Potomac River was very large and it was actually very close to the White House. This was backfilled by dredging. This is the Washington Monument. Construction started in 1848. Wasn't completed until 1884. This is one of the first renditions of what the monument was supposed to look like. No obelisk at the top and a very large area at the bottom. They didn't have enough money for it, so they had to simplify it. As I said, they started in 1848. It wasn't completed until 1884. This is what the monument looked like during the Civil War. Again, no money to do something like this, so they had to let it sit there. Kind of symbolized what the United States was going through. Divided and unfinished. After the war, they went back to the same quarry to build the completion of it. But you can see, this is the original. This is after the war where they went, it's two different colors. Even at the same quarry, they had to go down to a different strata or layer of stone, and it's a different color. The top of the monument was made of the most precious metal of the time, and that was aluminum. If you're from England watching this, aluminium. Here's a great view from the top of the Washington Monument. You can see the Lincoln Memorial, the reflection pool, and the World War II Memorial. The World War II Memorial was dedicated on May 31st, 2004. It was completed in April of 2004, and during that 1 month, it was all fenced off by the Park Service. The VFWs and the American Legions and other war veterans of World War II got together and pretty much broke down the fence so they could go in and see their memorial, because at the time, we were losing about 1,000 U.S. veterans a day to old age. So they wanted to get as many soldiers in there as possible to see their memorial. The memorial is divided between the Pacific and the Atlantic theaters. I did have the pleasure in June of 2004 of being in D.C., talking to a World War II veteran who served with MacArthur in the Southwest Pacific during World War II. When I first started talking to him, his shoulders were kind of hunched over. After a 10-minute conversation, he was still that 20-year-old private with his back straight and his shoulders out. It was a great 15 minutes of my life. I hope you enjoyed it as well. As I said, you have the Pacific on one side of the memorial, and you have the Atlantic representing the other side. These pillars represent all the states of the Union, as well as our U.S. territories. At the time of World War II, beginning of World War II, we were the 37th largest army in the world. We only had 5 divisions of soldiers. A division consists of about 15,000 men. By the end of World War II, we had 91 divisions, 89 were in active duty. We purposely did not have a lot of divisions of soldiers because it was considered by the Allies the United States was more valuable in manufacturing and farming to feed the world. These are the gold stars that are on the west wall of the World War II Memorial. Each star represents the 480,000 American and women soldiers that were killed in battle in uniform during World War II. When the memorial was dedicated, they asked the veterans what they thought of it. They said, "It's very nice, but it's missing one thing." If you ever saw the movie Kelly's Heroes with Clint Eastwood and Telly Savalas and my favorite Don Rickles, at the end of the movie, there's a little sign that they put up that says, "Kilroy was here." That Kilroy was here was a very popular piece of graffiti that soldiers all from the United States put all over the world wherever they went. They said, we need a little Kilroy. So if you were to come over to DC and you come around this corner of the memorial, you're going to see Kilroy. This is one of the few exceptions where a memorial can be altered after it has been dedicated. I'll get to the other one in just a second. The Lincoln Memorial, 36 columns that go around that represent the 36 states that were in the Union when Lincoln was president. The rest of the states up here are shown in memoriam when the memorial was dedicated. Alaska and Hawaii are not on here, and as I said earlier, you cannot change a memorial once it's dedicated. So as a testimony to Alaska and Hawaii, there's 2 stones here on the steps that say Alaska and Hawaii. There's also a stone carved out on the steps in honor of Martin Luther King with his I Have a Dream speech. One of my favorite pictures of the Lincoln Memorial caused a bit of controversy if you ask a park ranger. You see Lincoln facing to the east, and you see what appears to me to be a face facing the west. Who is this man? In my opinion, I think it's Robert E. Lee, facing to the west to his beloved Virginia and to the mansion that he called home with his wife. That mansion is now part of Arlington National Cemetery. This is one of the stone walls of the Lincoln Memorial. It is Lincoln's second inaugural address that he made weeks before he was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. With high hope for the future. As I said, they cannot make any changes to a memorial after it's been dedicated. Unfortunately, the men who inscribed this wall here, they did not speak English as their first language, maybe not even their second. So that little spell check error back in the day. Excuse me. This is the Korean Memorial. The Korean Memorial is represented by 19 soldiers and proportionate to the number of what division they served in. You have 14 Army, you have 3 Marines, you have 1 Air Force, and you have 1 Navy corpsman. This is one of the 4 Vietnam memorials. This memorial is called Hope, Faith, and Charity. You have Hope. She is waiting for the rescue helicopter to come in. You have Faith. She's praying. And you have Charity, giving comfort to a wounded soldier. This is in honor of the 8 Army nurses who were killed during World War II.